very first followers. And then when you followed me and I, followed back, I was like, this dude is cool. Like,
if they say talk to your manager, you just say, you know what, talk to the hand. You don't need to be on my podcast. But yeah, dude. Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you. I always get a kick out of talking with you on Patreon. You have a really good, view on everything.
That wasn't planned.
You know what? But I like this Canadian.
Well,
like this one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mindful Reality, the channel that covers reality TV from a mental health perspective. So I'm giving a throwback in a way because it's Throwback Thursday. So something I haven't done in a while is these mindful discussions where I think about reality TV topics and just cover them from my perspective as a mental health counselor. So this is just something that I was thinking about really in relation to what I've been seeing on The Challenge. As a lot of you know, I think about 2021, I started attending challenge events, MTV challenge events, which are like meet and greets where you get to meet them and you get to speak to them and take pictures, videos, and say different things, conversations, Q&As, different things like that. And I think that from 2021 to 2023, I might have gone to maybe like 8, 9 of them. And I met a lot of different people from current casts and past casts. And sometimes I would be speaking to them or I would be seeing them in person, and I would see social media and I would see how certain people were beefing or the enemies on social media. But then when I would be at the event, they'd both be at the event and they'd be smiling together. I'll give an example. I'm not going to name their names, but there were 2 people on the challenge that had a beef from a recent season. The season actually had just aired, and they said that this was some beef that had spanned over the course of a number of years. And when they walked in there, they were arm in arm, they were hugging each other. It's like, I love you, man. I love you too, man. And I remember walking up to one of them because this wasn't registering with me. I understand that on a TV show, these people are kind of like your coworkers. They are basically your coworkers, especially now, because back in the day, you got some really small chunk of change to actually even go on these shows, and there was no such thing as being a social media influencer or anything like that. But nowadays, I've heard they're paid pretty well just for appearing on the show, whether they win or whether they don't win. So I asked one of those 2 guys that had this TV beef. I was like, I just saw you on this most recent season of the show saying you don't like this guy. You hate him. I think he might have even said he hates him. And then I see y'all here and y'all are buddy. I don't really understand. And he said, that's just for entertainment. It's like, that's all entertainment. I actually really like him in real life. But, for the show and for the fandom, we got to keep this going. I've heard of things like this more and more as we unveil the different layers. It's almost like WWE in a sense. It's not 100% WWE. What I mean by that is, for anyone who has followed like WWF wrestling, now known as WWE wrestling, a lot of things are scripted. I mean, everything is scripted, but people kind of bring their own flair and their own uniqueness and their own individuality to the script. Now, in terms of a competition show, most of the time, unless it's Big Brother, most of the time, the people are really competing for real. But the storylines, in my opinion, which is not really an opinion, it's more of a fact, are somewhat doctored. Hi, Debbie. So there's a thing that happens too with the social media. Again, I'm going back to this challenge example. Yesterday, I was watching this live that Nerese did, and then a bunch of people jumped on it. Michelle jumped on. Raven jumped on there. Ed jumped on there. Horacio jumped on there at some point. And they were talking about everything that happened in that particular episode. And Nerese was saying that she saw the episode. I guess they get early access to it if they're on the cast. And she was saying that she saw it and she was crying because, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen yesterday's episode, but she said that she didn't realize that the order of which everybody was selected to choose for this special elimination challenge, she didn't realize that Jay orchestrated her having to pick between Olivia, Horacio, and Kyland and Zaza. But it was very planned for her to come online because this is the time when the fans watch the show, and this is the time when her name is popping, and she's a social media influencer. I've seen so many of these people with these show beefs in the same spaces together, happy, hugging up on each other, no issues. That's one part of it. The social media is an extended part of their job. That's one end of it. But the other end of it is now the fans get a chance to access the people to some degree all year round. Like, even if they're only on one show and the show is like 2 months or 3 months, the fans have access to them all year round. And to an extent, I mean, some of them allow more of that access than others, because we know that some of them, they'll go on the show and, like, we don't see Horacio, for an example, super on social media unless it's basically promoting something that he did, posting up pictures. It's all kind of business related. He's not the one that gets on live and says, I'm going to be on for 2 hours and let me drop the tea. But these people will be doing different podcasts, or they'll be saying different things to fans, or they'll be responding to fans' comments, and the fans will be quick to screen record that, tag the person. Hey, what do you have to say about that? What do you think about this? And a lot of these people that come on these shows, it's almost like going to a college dorm. You know how when you're in college, or if you are away for college or high school or anything, you know how you have people from all over the world wherever you're going to school. You have people coming in there from different countries, different cities, different states, West Coast, East Coast. You have people from Asia. You have people from Africa. You have people from Europe. And when school is going on, you're all together in one environment. You're seeing each other all the time. You're speaking all the time. You do appearances together, yada, yada. But then when school is over for the semester, you go back home. So that's kind of what happens. I've said this before. That's kind of what happens on these shows. So we have people that fly in, they go to a different country, and then there's people from the UK, there's people from USA, there's people from just different coasts and all over the place, and they're together for that period of time. And then they separate, and a lot of them primarily connect with each other through social media. So social media has a tendency to cross a lot of wires. So one might say, okay, a fan tagged somebody and said, hey, this person said this about you. What do you have to say about that? And you would think, well, why don't they just contact that person? Maybe they're not people who are regularly in contact. And then maybe it's a lot of fans tagging them. And then maybe they had a quick reaction, and then they had a response. And then the other person now sees the response. And then next thing you know, it's a whole firestorm and they haven't spoken. Another thing, I think that people are very concerned with images nowadays. They don't just want to go on the show and kind of be who they are. They're very concerned about how they're portrayed. And I don't blame them for that, because now I can't say I feel empathy, because empathy would mean I've actually been there, but I feel a little bit more sympathy having spoken to and interviewed a bunch of these people and had them tell me, I was just doing this, or when I said this is what I meant, or this is what I was trying to do with this. And then the fans took it another way. And I came out, and when the show came out, the internet was flaming me for this, and I was surprised. So I don't blame them, but it also creates a reality that is not necessarily real. And I feel like when you try really hard to be real, sometimes it comes across looking the opposite. I tend to feel like, okay, somebody can misunderstand you for a time, but I think that over a course of time, the truth of who you are is going to be what people know and what people see over time. Time always tells everything, even if there's missed context in one scenario. But that's just my brief discussion about the role of social media in reality TV today. Those were just some quick thoughts on it. Thank you for joining me. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. You are now tuned in to Mindful Reality, the channel that covers reality TV from a mental health perspective.
What's up, family? It's Mimi from Big Brother Season 25, and you are now tuned in to Mindful Reality with Mark. I need for y'all to stop what you're doing and make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, because the math ain't mathin', okay?